Hey everyone, this is my reaction to the 11th and final episode of Mushoku Tensei. And last episode was quite exciting because we got to go to a new city and explore it. Like in a previous episode, we got to go to the meager Roxy village, which was pretty cool. But this area's got a lot more going on. It's more of a big city kind of thing. And it's got a cool futuristic castle thingy as well that maybe we'll get to explore this episode, but probably not. But we definitely got to get into the whole adventuring thing, which is a pretty common staple of isekai shows. You go to a new world, you go to the guild area, and you're like, hey, I'm a guild member now, I get to do missions, and it's great. And we did that, kinda, but we decided that, slowly working your way up from the bottom, doing those rescue cat missions, it's not all that efficient. Let's try to kind of go around the system a bit and have somebody else pick up the high ranking missions and we'll do them and get the money, and that's how we roll here. So let's get into the episode and see exactly where we go from here. I imagine we'll do our B rank slaying mission in this episode. Hopefully it goes well. Let's see. 3, 2, 1, play. Bum 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 bum. Oh, Roxy. Yeah, I don't know where we are, but it doesn't seem like a happy place. I don't think Rudy's here. Did I miss something? I guess this is just the like the aftermath of the mana storm stuff. I guess this is a result of that. That would make sense. Since we were kind of teleported far away from it, I kind of forgot that there's probably a lot of stuff that's being dealt with in regards to that. Who are you? Oh, who are you? Wow. Yeah, she looks great. I have no idea who you two are, but she had a Naruto headband in her hand. Fangs of the Black Wolf. That was what Ghislaine was a part of, right? uh, yeah, as long as you don't die. I'm sure it is. But nothing we can't handle, I hope. Probably, but I'm still a little bit worried. I do appreciate getting some insight into, yeah, what happened after Rudy left, kind of the current status of things. Although it doesn't sound great, it's good to know. Oh, he spotted a party of some... Oh, that's them! It probably is, honestly. We're here for the mission. Although we're technically not supposed to be, so it might be hard to explain. What are you doing, Eris? Well, I don't remember asking for your permission. You tell him. I really am impressed how dedicated they are to having the foreign language being spoken. I've given up on reading both sets of subs, by the way, if that wasn't obvious. They just do it too much for that to be viable. Yeah, that could be a problem. Let's try to avoid that. I didn't say that. And then there's Eris. Yeah. These are the kind of adventures that would be slaughtered by goblins. Oh god, I think that was a spider! Nanika. I think it's time to panic. Oh jeez, the designs of these monsters. They're doing a good job of making them intimidating. I mean, maybe they got this. Let's believe in them. Yeah, as long as they don't die, it's all good. That sounded pretty bad, though. Oh! Yeah, this may be the time to help. Hopefully he's not just dead. Oh, wow. And Eris, so show what you got. And stab it. Oh. That's more than a stab. Yeah, I think we're a bit better than they are. I think that's safe to say. You're welcome. Yeah, she just... I mean, Eris just like one-shot that thing. And as always, mind-blowing battle animation in this show. But what about him? Yeah, is he just like dead? Because there'd be a lot of guilt from Rudy, I'm sure, if he is. Because they could have prevented that. That does sound pretty bad. But didn't think they'd get one shot like that. I mean, he's a child too, you know, sort of. Technically, your adventure kids. That is always a risk when you choose the life of an adventurer. We put Rudy down now. It just really sucks that happened. Really just kind of ruined the atmosphere of the adventure, didn't it? Yeah, it sounds like it's not going well. Yeah, this is a battlefield, alright. And they already lost someone. Well, someone was dead down there. Oh, that is a boss monster. Neither did I. Probably. You're not so cocky now, are you? But do we stand a chance? That's what I want to know. Okay. If he says it, I believe it. Do we miss? And she's so good at all the fancy flips and stuff. Oh, but you gotta watch out for that tail. Oh, what was that? Okay, it was a shot. A blast. For a second, I thought somebody was just like running that fast. Man, he is so strong. Yeah, hold him still so she can stab him. Oh. Did that do it? If his heart was there, that should do it. Yeah, I'd say we're a pretty good team. I still wouldn't get that close to it until we're sure. But like, I'm glad too, but please don't dance on the corpse. Is he? Yeah. I mean, that did look pretty bad. Especially if it was venomous, like. Which I always assume snakes are. Yeah, not exactly a happy-go-lucky adventure, was it? At least dead end sounds the same in both languages. The rush, it's just a brisk pace walking. I don't like the sound of that. What happened? How did that get found out so quickly? This is a real problem. Can we just, like, kill him? The fake language, and that still sounded really creepy. Just whispering yowie yowie in his ear. I think we just, like, stab him, like, right now. That's one option, but yeah, probably not a good option. You're the idea guy, Rudy. So I wonder how that got found out. Oh, uh, let's not go that far. That's like a Gabriel from Gabriel Dropout solution. What's happening? Oh, do you take the dye off his hair to scare him? To reveal his identity? Because that's also a bold solution. Oh, that looked cool, though. Yeah, you feel like blackmailing us now? A little bit dramatic there. I know we didn't have a whole lot of options, but I don't know if this was the best one. Yeah, you're not feeling so tough now, are you? Ignorance is no excuse. Really, you're trying to... Yeah, we'll be back. Man, is he good at making a point. So I guess we're just kind of done with this city. Which is a shame, because I wanted to explore it more, but... there's no going back from this. Yeah, but... it probably doesn't overshadow... the fear they've always had for Dead End. And weren't you supposed to be watching out for us? You can't just disappear. Oh, there he is. No, it couldn't have been too far. Like any good anime protagonist. And that is something worth protecting. Huh? Yeah, why are you looking at me, guys? Right. He is his father's son. Also, that was a good point. That's why they make the best of friends. I mean, he's like the first male bestie that he has in this show. You're not leaving me out. You know, having two conversations at once just confuses me. Well, a conversation and a monologue. Who are you? Oh. It's got the... Wait, just like shaved his head. I mean, I guess that makes sense if the green hair is part of the problem. Instead of dyeing it, just shave it off, but... The Naruto headband. Now he just looks like a ninja. A bald ninja. And she is as cute as always. I want to see him do the Naruto run now. It's gonna take some getting used to. World domination. Oh, that too. Is this our meeting? When they ride a big old lizard, it just makes you think they're after the avatar. So she has a new training partner. Okay, yeah, I guess that would be something we have to do too. Of course, Rudy's gonna have to observe such a thing. Hey, you're gonna miss a good part. I'm not ready yet. But yeah, I mean, traveling through a desert, bath time is even more important than usual, so... Oh, so is that like a port town? Yeah, that town makes a lot of sense now. Oh, a ship. Are we on a ship? Oh, Rox is on a ship. So yeah, I guess it just kind of became per new party members. I guess Rox is on her own adventure. To find Rudy, probably. Thank you for watching. Look forward to season 2. So yeah, they actually announced it right at the end. I always appreciate when a show does that. Of course, I finished this late, so I already heard that there was going to be a season 2. But yeah, seeing in the episode itself, actually just a big confidence boost in that regard. So... and a nice end card too. We got our new and improved comrade there. Just it's quite the image change. Anyway, that was the 11th and final episode of Mushoku Tensei season 1, at least. And yeah, this episode, it kind of put an end to our adventures in that city, didn't it? I mean, the whole strategy we were doing, obviously it would come crumbling down eventually. You can only scam the system so long until you get caught, right? I still don't quite get what happened. Did they just like Did he overhear them talking about the plan? Otherwise, I'm not sure exactly how that got found out. But I am kind of getting ahead of myself. Before we got into that, we actually had the mission itself, the slaying mission, which was pretty brutal overall, because we had like two different other parties involved. We had the amateurish one that I don't remember their name. The amateurish one though, with the forearms and all that. Yeah, they clearly weren't ready for this. Like I made a couple Goblin Slayer references in regards to them, because that's kind of what I think of whenever I think of newbie adventurers that are not very experienced, but they're not as cautious as they should be, and it ends up getting into a situation they can't handle, and they usually lose at least one karma, and they learn a lesson the hard way. Right? It's that kind of scenario, so I was kind of half expecting something like this to happen. Well, maybe not, maybe like 20% expected, but what actually ended up happening was Rudy was in a position where he was watching everything go down and could have helped but didn't, and as a result of that, they lost one of their teammates. There's a lot to say about that. Like, I mean, you really can't expect another party to save you when you're in trouble. Like, as an adventurer, that's not really a thing you can rely on. So Rudy really wasn't under any solid obligation to help, right? Like, they were not in any position to complain about Rudy not helping, and they didn't. They were just happy that he helped when he did, right? Although from Rudy's perspective, because he has a conscience and whatnot, he still feels bad because he knows that he could have saved them if he wanted to, but decided not to because he figured that would be more beneficial to himself, and that, selfish thought resulted in the death of someone, and that's the kind of thing you'd feel pretty guilty about. But the leader of their team really took it extraordinarily well, even after hearing the things from Dead End. He very much acknowledges his position in adventure, the risk that comes with that, and really blames nobody but himself. Like, that's just a really surprisingly mature way to look at that. And this is like right after he lost him too, so really impressive stuff. And this caused Dead End to have a lot of respect for him. That's when the whole distinction between a child and a warrior really came up, because that was kind of a continuous theme throughout the episode, and it just kind of started there. Like, because you're a warrior when you understand what it means to be a warrior, essentially. Like, Dead End kind of clarified what the qualifications of that are later in the episode when he had his nice talk with Rudy. But this is where that really started. And that was bad for that party, but they weren't the only party that was out there, because there was the other party with like the pig dude, and the things didn't go well for them either. Like, I think when they actually ran into them, he was already in the big old snake's mouth, so yeah, apparently a lot of adventurers really weren't up for this challenge. Luckily we were, as the protagonist party. We're quite powerful. Rudy's got his immense magic. We got Ellis, who's good with blades and really fast and agile. And we got Dead End, who's just like insanely tough, right? When we all come together for a common goal, there's a lot we could do. So in the end, we did succeed in taking it down. I was a little bit worried that the snake would get back up and attack again, especially when Ellis was like dancing on the corpse and being like, it's dead, right? I was just like, really worried it would just spring back up and bite her. I'm glad that did not happen, because I would cry if that did happen. So yeah, the show wouldn't dare kill off Ellis, would it? Like, there would be riots in the streets. I don't think the show would ever do that, especially since it's been built up as that's kind of what Rudy's protecting right now. So yeah, the show wouldn't do that. But so that was a big part of it, and then we got back to town, and that's when things really went downhill. Our horse friend here, what was his name? Nokopara or something like that. Or I'll just call him Horse Dude. He's like always an asshole. Like, every time we see him, he has something rude and unpleasant to say. And he started talking about the two people that we were conning the system with. And for a second, I thought maybe they were dead, but no, they were just kind of cowering in the corner because it's been found out. And if you like try to scam the system, usually you'll lose your license. So they lose their license, Rudy's team loses their license. This is a really bad situation. So Rudy had a really big decision to make about how to deal with this, because there's several ways to deal with it. Just accept that it's happened and do something else with your life. Just murder the guy that knows. Destroy the whole town. There's various options you can do. And it seemed like Rudy would be the one to make the decision, but in the end, it actually wasn't. Dead End took it upon himself after seeing Rudy's resolve and just wiped that die away, revealed his true identity in a really cool sequence. And then Horse Dude over here panicking like a little baby because in that moment he sees what a truly powerful warrior that doesn't take shit from anyone is. He's like right in front of him and on the wrong side, and Horse Dude is on the wrong side of him, right? So that's when panic ensued on his end. And he did a pretty good job of just mass intimidation. Like, we're gonna leave, but if we get to the next town, we find out our license is gone. You and me, we're gonna have a problem. So I hope that doesn't happen. I mean, you should hope that doesn't happen. Cutting the face and all that. Just you could tell this is not his first round of intimidating someone. It shows. It really shows. So that was pretty cool. And then after we left the town, we had a really nice moment between Dead End and Rudy. Because this is what really dawned on me that, yeah, Dead End is like the first real male bro character that Rudy has had. Because so far, all his friends have been female potential harem members, right? We've had Sylphie, we've had Eris, we've had... Is that all? Oh, yeah, Roxy, yeah. Right. And I mean, Roxy's a little bit older than him, but still. It's all been like females, which usually associate with harem, both with isekai protagonists generally. But now we finally have that older male role model, cool kind of bro character, right? And that's really what he is, and that's cool to see. Got some mutual respect developing between the two of them, a bond of trust and all that good stuff. It was just a really nice scene. And Eris, her cuteness, still managed to play a role, just going in there, joining her hand because she didn't want to be left out. And in this scene as well, this episode as well as last episode had like some of those bits where things are going on, but you see some animation budget still used on Eris doing things in the background, whether it be practicing with her new sword thingy or just playing with a rock, just whatever she does. I always appreciate those little bits for sure. The show, just the animation when it wants to, it's always so good. Like the fight scene, especially Eris, just like. I don't know how to describe it. The jumping, flipping, agile combat style that she's got, right, like leading up to her final strike of the anime. It always looks so good. And I guess it was Dead End's time to have some character development because he changed his hairstyle by just getting rid of it entirely and putting on the headband, which, it now matches with Eris, which she got really excited about, and that was insanely adorable. So this is our new party. We're back on the road again after things did not work out in the last city, but hopefully they work out next time. And we had a little bit of a montage just kind of showing how things are going. And we ended off kind of on a shot of Roxy, who's on a ship with like a dwarf companion and a elf companion. I'm not quite sure. She's got pointy ears. I assume she's an elf. She's quite attractive. I mean, they both look like fairly important characters, so I should have known they would have become party members. But yeah, now it seems like we have like kind of like a second party to follow. And hopefully she can meet up with Rudy at some point, because that'd be pretty cool, because they both have had a lot of experiences since they last met each other, so getting to come together and talk about it, that'd be great. Unfortunately, we did not get any kind of follow-up on that Demon Emperor Lolly Girl from that one episode, or the one guy from that episode, or the other guy from that episode. Like, all that stuff, I guess, was essentially just teasing for future events, kind of like a quick little reminder that we have only scratched the surface. There's a lot more to get into, so don't think you've seen it all yet. We're probably not going to get into this season, but we will eventually, so, just anticipate that, guys. I guess it was that kind of thing, right? So, because I imagine they'll pop up in second season at the very least, so, I mean, surely they would. But that's most of what I want to say about the episode. But Rudy, it is good that the show really is kind of putting Rudy through trials, essentially. Like, he makes these decisions, and sometimes they work out, sometimes they don't. Sometimes he makes mistakes, and sometimes he has to learn from them. I do love all this kind of character building stuff that they do with Rudy, for sure. I don't really have too much to say about that, really, but I definitely do appreciate that. You really feel the struggle of a protagonist is trying to do his best, trying to protect what he cares about, trying to keep going, making decisions because he has to, never knows if it's the right one. It's good stuff. Ruby Jerd. I really should try to remember his real name. I don't like calling him Dead End. It's just easier to remember. Ruby Jerd. I'll make an effort to remember that. And I really did not expect him to die in one hit. Like, I mean, I was a little bit worried about that when Rudy made the decision to stay back. Like maybe that might not work out, but just one hit, he was smacked against a tree and dead. Like, Rudy, don't feel too bad. I also did not expect that to be the case. Like, if you're that ill-prepared for a battle, like, you really can't blame anyone but yourself for how things go. Like, for sure. So I am really glad that nobody really blamed Rudy. Well, we don't know how the actual victim of that felt, but he probably wouldn't blame Rudy either. And I'm just kind of skimming through the episode, see if there's anything else I wanted to touch on. I don't think so. I just hope I never see that horse guy again. For as long as I live. So, usually this is where I kind of talk about my overall thoughts on the show as a whole, which I feel like I've done a decent amount through the course of the show anyway. But this has been a really good show. Like, very early on, very similar as most isekai anime, you know, the character dies, he reincarnates, he's like, huh, where am I? And some isekai anime have the character reincarnate as like a fully grown a person that's already the same age as he was back then. And sometimes it's you restart as a baby. I think that's actually the least common of the two. But through that, he gets to really experience his new life. Because this isekai has a real reason to be an isekai, unlike a lot of them that just kind of feel like it's an isekai because it's the hot new trend to do. But this one is an example of somebody who had a previous life that just wasn't good, that was a failure, probably how you would describe it. And this gives him a chance to start over. He has a new set of parents, a new world. He has all the knowledge of his past mistakes and stuff, so he's in the perfect position to really redo his life, like a redo, just essentially a redo, right? Like a reset, like a reattempt. He might just starting over from zero, basically. Right, and he gets to learn magic and all this cool stuff. And the very first I don't know, 4 or so episodes, like the show really started with a very slow build up because we're in this new world. It's all new, and he has to he has to understand the world around him, and from that he can decide what he wants to do going forward. And eventually that amounted to, after having experiences like with Roxy and Sylphie and all that, he eventually decided that he wanted to pursue magic, go to the Magic Academy, and then he needed money to do that, so then he wanted to get a job. And then the dad was like, okay, there you go, a job, go teach somebody. And that causes him to meet up with Ellis, right? So that gives him a new aspect of his life too. And then he gets the whole magical transportation thing. And now all these experiences come together for him to do his best on his adventure and keep Eris protected and alive so he could return her back home. And also so he could help Ruijerd as well. So now he's had all that experience. He's in a position where he knows what he wants to do and is doing his best to do it, and that's kind of where we're at now. So I don't know where I was going with that, but the point is the show, I think my overall point of that was that it's had a very good build up. Like it felt slow paced when it made sense to be slow paced, and then it sped up when it made sense for it to sped up. And when the show really wanted to take off really branch out into the world, it did it. And we get to see all the little bits and pieces that were built up of the lore and stuff, like with the Laplace demons and the Spurbs and all that. Once he actually got truly thrusted out into the world, we got to expand on a lot more of that stuff and learn even more about stuff and see new cities and new people. It's cool, you know, because we heard about a lot of things before, back when that's the only way you would experience them, because he's just a child and he reads books and stuff and hears stories, and then you actually get to see it firsthand. So we as the audience get to kind of, what's what I'm looking for? Anticipate getting to see that stuff, and then we actually get to see it, so it kind of gets some good payoff in that regard. So it really was cool though, just when we were thrust out into the world, because we actually get to see more than just a couple places, and it was fully adventure time. As far as the cast of characters go, I mean, that's also a really good strength of the show, for sure. I mean, because Rudy is really, really cool protagonist, because he does have a lot of flaws as a person, and he is trying to improve himself in the second chance, right? So we get to see some of his past life tendencies, and how they were really strong in the early days, and the more of his kind of new Rudy life, you know, those two things coming together. Sometimes his old self wins out in a conflict, sometimes his new self wins out. And that's just kind of getting to see kind of that dynamic within himself, some of that conflict. It's been pretty cool to see. And Rudy's also pretty good at getting things done, for the most part, I would say. Like, he definitely has a lot more character to him than the average isekai. Because isekai anime, I think they have a bit of a reputation for having blank, self-insert kind of character, so I don't really have much personality. But Rudy has personality. You may not like his personality, especially depends on you know the kind of person you are, but he does have a personality, and he is trying to better himself. So I should hope most people can respect that and appreciate that, even if they don't necessarily like him as a character. I like him as a character, but I can see why some people might not, which is always a risk when you give somebody a real personality. But so yeah, Rudy's a pretty cool character. He always does. He's never know what Rudy might do. He does some pretty silly stuff sometimes. And then he had his first, I mean, he has first, I guess I should talk about the parents first, because the parents are a really interesting aspect of it too. Because the parents get along pretty well. They have a nice little setup, like they're kind of out in the country sort of thing, a lot of land and stuff, but they're also pretty well off financially, it seems like. And, you know, the mother was just excited that her child knows magic and stuff, and she brought in a tutor, right? And that was our first person we got outside of the family was Roxy. So she was pretty great. Just, I mean, from Rudy's perspective, yeah, that was the first kind of waifu potential candidate that came into his life. Because in the beginning, Rudy couldn't really leave the house because he had his hikikomori trauma kind of thing from his previous life, which is one of the first things he had to overcome as a character. But luckily, having a tutor come to the house was a chance to have a waifu experience without having to leave your house. So that was pretty lucky for Rudy. And they bonded quite a lot, and his magic made a lot of progress. And then the next kind of sort of waifu candidate, Sylphie, was an example of somebody he met because he was able to leave his house a little bit, right? Because Roxy helped him with that, but he didn't go too far initially, but he went far enough where he could meet someone else, somebody that wasn't just brought into the house, somebody that he actually went out and seeked himself, right? And somebody he could help out because of the lessons he learned from his father about helping, about saving somebody in trouble, and he did that, and then they became friends. And then the third waifu candidate, Eris, that he met, was an example of going quite a bit far away from home into a new city, right? So I did like that, like venturing out more and more, meeting new people. That was pretty cool. I liked that a lot more than something like going to an academy all of a sudden and like having all the waifu candidates just like thrown at you at once. I just like felt like a really nice progression, and that's one thing that I really do like about the show is the sense of progression and development that it's had. The pace felt fitting. Whenever it was slow, it felt fitting. When it was fast, it felt fitting. I know I've already said that before, but it is one of those things that definitely stuck with me. And as far as the parents go, out of the two of them, Paul got the most focus, because Paul's kind of essentially an ex-anime protagonist, right? I think that's how people have described him, because it's pretty funny, because we see Paul mostly like post all of that, and when he's in a position of he's a father, he's trying to do his best as a father, but then we kind of like get more and more hints of his past life and how he was, and kind of just get a feel for how scummy he is, but he is still doing his best as a father to Rudy, has still instilled some good values and stuff onto him, even if some of Paul's personality quirks, they're there, of course, but I think as a father, he's done a decent job with Rudy, right? But just impregnating both his wife and the housemaid, that was quite something. I mean, that was the most, like, because that wasn't like a memory or a story or anything. That was something we saw in current time frame, like an example in front of him Rudy could see to get a feel for the kind of person Paul is, and you probably learned a lesson from that of what not to do. Like, you probably should avoid doing that in the future. Luckily, because of Rudy, everyone got to stay together, but that could have gone along a lot worse. So, but Paul's also a skilled warrior and was able to teach Rudy that as well. So, even if he's got some scummy aspects to his character, there was also plenty of good stuff to learn from him. So, it was really cool to have that as a father figure rather than some kind of, again, perfect character that always knows best. You know, like it feels a lot more real. And I think that's all I have to say about characters in this show. I mean, there were a few other characters here and there, but I don't think any of them were quite as important as the ones that I've already talked about. I mean, I guess I could talk about Lilia, the maid, a little bit, but what's there to say? I liked her well enough. I really don't have much to say about her. But, I mean, out of all the female characters, I would say Eris is probably my favorite. Like, she started off very much as a violent tsundere character. But I don't know, once you kind of got past that and got to see more of who she is, and she's more amiable with Rudy, like you could just see, like on the cuteness scale, she's kind of like 110%. So just all the stuff we saw with her through the course of the show, it's great. Like I need more of that character in my life. I think that's the biggest takeaway. And also the Grey Rat family, like they really brought in just how complicated that is. The whole the Boreas thing and the what was the other one? Notos, I think it was called, and all that stuff. Because you know they're gonna get into that later at some point. Rudy potential could be a part of a coup or something. Like they kind of seeded that potential. I don't know when that will get back into it, but they've got to do something with that eventually, I would imagine. So that's something that's also something to look forward to. And I don't know how much more I had to say on the show, really, that I haven't already said. Because, I mean, I've already said a lot about it. But it's just a very compelling, captivating show that really drew me into this world more so than any isekai's done in quite a while. Like, a lot of isekai anime I watch, and I'm just like, yep, okay, checkbox, yep, they got that, yep, they got that. This is an isekai anime, alright. But this show never felt like that. Never felt like it was ticking check marks. It just felt like it was... the story was progressing how the story should progress. Like, that's what it felt like. And I can really see why a lot of shows took a look at this and said, yeah, we could do something like that, and then tried, and then it wasn't as good. Like, because I can see them not quite taking all the right lessons from it. Which is usually what happens when you try to imitate something successful, something good. You can't do it properly. And this is an example of that. Like, because this is well done for what it is. A really fleshed out world that I really want to get more into. Why does it only have to be 11 episodes? That's just not fair. There's clearly so much left to do. But I guess I'll have to wait for season 2. But anyway, yeah, I really like this show. That's my overall point. And now you have to wait for more. But till then, bye-bye. Thank you for watching. And a special thanks to Cnouki and Ryan for supporting the channel. If you enjoyed this video, I hope you consider clicking the like button and leaving a comment, because that's a great and easy way to let me know that people want more. If you want to do something big to help the channel, you can support me on Patreon and get nice benefits like early access to certain videos. See you next time.